Did they just move the last seen date up by 2 days? Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. Disclaimer, everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. Lilly and Jack Sullivan out of Nova Scotia. Whenever we first reported on this case, the information that we had received was that they were last seen at school on the 29th of April, but that on the 30th, there was no school at all. And on the 1st of May, both of the kids stayed home because Lilly, who is 6, had a cough. Therefore, Jack, who is 4, also stayed home. And then they were reported missing the morning of Friday, May the 2nd. Now, there's an update in an article and a little piece of a neighbor's interview that I want to go over that was posted about 24-ish hours ago. But in the article, it states that the dates in question when it comes to security footage goes before the April 29th last date at school report. It goes to April the 27th, which is interesting and could change everything. Let's go ahead and take a look. Now, this is from cbc.ca News in Canada, and this was posted on May 22nd, 2025, around 2 p.m. their time, at the time that I am recording this update video. Not at the time that it's being posted, but at the time that I am recording this video. The last update to this article was done 5 hours ago.
Melissa Scott's trail cameras might contain clues about the disappearance of Lilly and Jack Sullivan. RCMP asked her for days of footage as the investigation into the missing children approaches the 3-week mark.
Yeah. It's scary, especially not knowing what happened. We definitely keep our kids a little closer to home now.
I would imagine the 4- and 6-year-olds were reported missing from this home on May 2nd, launching a massive search of the woods.
See all of that stuff in front of the house? It's just like, besides walking off, there's so many hazards just right there.
Surrounding the home. No trace has been found, and RCMP haven't ruled out the case is suspicious. This is some of the footage Scott gave police. She says RCMP major crimes officers came to her home this week, asking for everything on her 7 cameras, starting April 27th, 5 days before the kids were reported missing.
See, my original timeline has them being reported 5/2, which was the Friday, but last seen on 4/29. And that came from a bus driver, the bus driver that dropped them off. Now, what I had questioned is if she had a cough, if Lilly had any sort of cough at school on that Tuesday. Now, Wednesday, again, there was no school. So then technically anything could have happened from the evening of 4/29 on to whenever the 911 call was made. Anything could have happened. But now that they're asking for stuff all the way back to 4/27, that would have been what? 4/29 was Tuesday, 4/28 was Monday, 4/27 was Sunday. So are we supposed to now think that maybe either A, the kids really weren't in school on Monday and Tuesday and the bus driver was mistaken? I highly doubt that. I mean, I know that here in the United States, I know this is another country, but in the United States, buses have cameras and attendance should be taken pretty much the same way no matter where, unless they're trying to see if there was somebody maybe stalking out the area, if somebody was coming around prior to that, like if they were actually abducted, was this something that was like pre-planned and somebody came driving around and seeing the best way to do something crazy? But they would have had to have known that the kids were not at school Friday morning because they were reported missing at a time that they would have been at school. Normally, I'm pretty sure, since they were in school actually. And the 911 call was around like 9:40-ish is what we've seen. Like we keep seeing like around 10, but then there's lots of reports of it being specifically at 9:40 in the morning, which is, whenever you think around 10 o'clock, that's a whole 20-minute difference, which is a lot. But then again, like what we talked about in the first video, which if y'all haven't seen that full one, it looks like this, and I'll have a link for it down in the description box. But what we had learned at that point is that they had been saying that they had woken up, the mom and the stepdad had woken up around 8:30, but then on the dispatch, there's something about them last being seen around like 8 o'clock in the morning, So there's just a bunch of discrepancies all over the place. And then on top of that, they were staying on the stepdad's family property. There's a bunch of discrepancy on if the brother actually lived there or not, but for sure the mom lived on the property. His mother lived on the property. The mother of the two missing children and the stepdad and the family got into a huge argument that Saturday, the very next day on the 3rd. So she was basically kicked off the property and has been staying with her family. And there's a bunch of back and forths about the possible situation when it comes to the custody of the baby that the two have together, because he had gone to like the Canadian DHS CPS type office and was declined visitation with his child. And people were like, well, if she still has custody, why is he going there? But maybe they took custody. This isn't like the United States where you can get more exact and precise information, which is why there's a lot of people trying to stay away from speculation, which I completely agree with. Honestly, at this point, there's a lot of stuff going around on the Facebook pages and all kinds of stuff about their history and their past, but there's no proof of anything that we have been able to see. So until we see proof of something, then there's no point in bringing it up. As far as I can tell from the things I have heard, the children that he has, the stepdad has with another woman from a previous relationship, like there's still contact between his children's mother and his family, like everything's okay. So we don't know. It's all it's interesting to say the least, but they could just not be able to handle the stress together. They could just be simply blaming each other because nobody really knows what happened. And there is a huge possibility that somebody was stalking out the area and took those children. There's also a lot of stuff going on when it comes to rumors about the biological father. Some people say that he was in jail based on some charges that he had gotten, and there's apparently like a pending court date coming up, but then some say no, he was actually out of jail and like bond, and he has a court date coming up that he's waiting to actually go to. He's not in jail waiting for it. He's outside in the free world waiting to go to court. So I don't know, because they also say that the dad just really wasn't around anyway. But that doesn't really mean a lot either. See, there's so much just like discrepancy and stuff. And again, it's just hard to get the true facts because it's another country. So all the other stuff about their personal lives and other things like that, you really can't say anything about. Now, I will say that one of the things that I would say falls on a different level than all of those things is a neighbor claiming that there was some sort of get-together or gathering of a sort at that house pretty, not very long before the two kids went missing. And they called it like a party. And I know that there's multiple vehicles already like at the property, but a neighbor would know which vehicles were normal and which vehicles were, in excess. So for that to come out, I'd say that's probably something to maybe pay attention to. But we would also eventually, hopefully, see proof of that, maybe on these cameras that this woman had. They'll be like, on the road seeing people going in and out maybe for this said party. Maybe that'll be the proof of what that neighbor was talking about. Because again, if she is a neighbor, even if they are a little bit far apart, it's a place she probably drives by frequently whenever she leaves her house, goes into town, drives around. So she would probably, or, he, she, whoever, would definitely know the difference between the vehicles always there and, whenever there's, something going on. You always kind of know whenever your neighbor's having to get together or a party. You can always just tell.
Two of Scott's neighbors were also asked to provide footage to RCMP. She says the officers also asked about her family's vehicles to rule out local traffic in the footage.
Yeah.
Possibly they are wondering if they didn't go missing earlier, or maybe somebody who isn't local to the area was around beforehand.
Yeah. And see, that's her speculating that because now we have 2 days before the last time we're being told they were seen by the bus driver. So again, it's going to be really interesting if we end up finding out that his recollection was incorrect and the school records actually show the kids were absent. But you would think that that would be something they could have proved early on. What's honestly disappointing to me, and I know this is another country, but it is honestly disappointing that we have these two missing babies. Okay, 6 and 4, broski. 6 and 4. And apparently, according to their parents, a little bit developmentally delayed. They're not caught up to other kids their age in their preschool classes. Okay, so already we have two little bitty babies that should never be outside alone, regardless to play alone, fenced or not. Someone should always be watching them. But they also are not as on the same level as they should be when it comes to cognitive thinking and abilities, and maybe not going with strangers because the parents have also made it clear they don't know what a stranger is, right? So who's to say that somebody hadn't seen these kids playing outside by themselves multiple times and started just like circling around like a vulture, just waiting for the right time? But again, this was a school morning that they were reported missing, so something just doesn't seem right. Okay, let's go ahead and finish this.
This road is the most direct path from Scott's property to the home the kids went missing from. We drove between the two places. It's about an 18-minute drive down rough dirt roads.
Dang.
Straight through the woods, it's about 5 kilometers.
I did mention to them that I was very happy to see them and glad that they were canvassing a little further and looking at trail cam footage.
Yeah, see, that actually is interesting that it's so far apart, because that tells me that they might actually like have a lead they're looking for specifically, knowing that. Because I was about to say, dang, like it's kind of disappointing that they took so long. It's been weeks now. We're on the 23rd of May, and it's taken this long to canvass this area. But knowing now how far apart it is, maybe that's because they actually have a lead they are looking for. I hope that's the case. I hope that's the case.
And they did respond saying that they probably should have been around earlier.
RCMP would not answer CBC's questions, including why they are seeking trail camera footage from before the disappearance and why they are identifying local vehicles.
They're not
Nicholas
going to
Sagan,
tell you.
CBC News.
Yeah, of course not. They're not going to tell you why. They don't even probably like the fact that it's even being talked about in the public, that they were even out there in the first place, because it sort of gives a heads up to people that would know if you know. You know what I mean? But that seems to be it for the most recent updates in this situation, and sadly, it's still not an update. Now, again, knowing how distant it is between the original search area and where they went and asked for these trail cams, I am hopeful that means it's a targeted search and not just an expanded one because they haven't found any answers closer to home. I really hope it means they found something that brought them there, you know. But again, that's it as far as I can tell for the most recent official updates. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this case down in the comments. If you like the way that I present this information and give my opinion, please don't forget to leave a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. And please don't forget to make sure that that notification bell is set to all so you don't miss any of my rants, reviews, reactions, updates, or deep dives. See y'all.